as the school has grown, we have adjusted our training styles and what we're aiming to do. We have a lot more people that are interested in competition now. And so you see me coaching a lot while people are rolling. Sometimes when I'm teaching techniques, I talk about their viability in competition, what you have to look out for. And a lot of times people's responses are going to be dictated by what they're fighting for. If they're fighting for self-defense, you're fighting for MMA, you're fighting for competition in jiu-jitsu, what you think and your strategy is going to be adjusted based on that. So three main points that I really want to work on and talk about. First one is, we're in the only sport where people don't know the rules. And so a lot of you that are talking about going to compete, especially if we're going to travel and spend money, you have to read the rule book. And some of the rules are gray area. Some of them are going to be enforced differently between referee and referee. I don't care what anyone says, that's the case. What team you're on can adjust some of that, how loud your coach yells. But you need to know the consequence for your actions, right? If you're starting to get taken down and you run out of bounds, you need to know what the consequence for that is, right? And it's going to make the referee make the call on you if it's a bad call. And if you watched my Winter Invitational last year, I moved up a weight class. I had a guy that was 280. He snatched up an outside single on me. And I was tired, and I hopped right out of bounds. Now, I realized right away that he was going to get those 2 points. I knew that the referee was going to give them to him. But the difference is the referee started us standing because he didn't initiate the takedown. If I didn't do that and I allowed him to finish the takedown like he was going to, then he's going to have turtle, he's going to get his 2 points, and turtle top, he's going to get his 2 points, I'm going to get squished. I was tired. But I made that conscious decision in my mind. You need to know that if somebody advances from closed guard to half guard, they get an advantage point. You need to understand that in half guard, there are 3 modes of control: cross face, back flat, underhook. You get 2 of those 3, they're going to get an advantage. And some of the, different referees are going to look for different things. They're going to argue what control is. They're going to argue what reaping is. But you need to know the rules so that you can form a strategy based around what the rule set is. That's number 1. Number 2, white belt, blue belt, purple belt. As you guys are learning, you understand what the points are calling. You kind of understand the rules. So you take your sweep. You understand. You garner points. You do things to get points. Now, I said purple too, but purple is this transitionary belt. You're turning into a professional. You're understanding how space is controlled and movement. And so now you're making the transition of not only fighting for points, but you need to fight to deny your opponent points. You need to understand that a sweep is not getting knocked down. A sweep is getting knocked down and they come up. And so getting knocked down doesn't mean that you stop moving, right? It means that you have to fight to deny them the points just as hard as you fight to get points. And that's hard for people. Complacency, tired, right? You're trying to set things up. Strategy. Your strategy needs to be based around the competition that you're competing in. And your strategy should include denying your opponent points. You need to understand the points inside and out for that to be able to happen. The first step of learning is understanding what you have to do to get them. The next step will be doing things to stop them from getting them. That's number 2. Number 3, one of the hardest things for people to do is counter instead of resist. Resistance is natural. You do that at white belt because you don't know what's going on. They start sweeping you, they start choking you, and you realize that if you don't do anything, you get smashed, you get beat. So your default resistance is grip fight, which is good. Don't stop grip fighting. But it's also just resisting. They put a hand on the collar, you try to resist. They try to bring other hand, you resist. And at blue belt, that can work because people don't have deep games. They don't know what to do next. But if resistance is your default, resistance doesn't mean denying your partner points. It just means you're not advancing the role. Resistance is radically different than countering. Countering advances the position, but while defending a choke, defending a position. So I want you to counter, not just resist. Resistance buys you time, but it doesn't buy you position. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? So you need to understand the difference between resistance and countering. So to review all this, you need to know the rules inside and out. You cannot go compete and spend a lot of money and not understand how you have to win. I don't want you arguing with the ref. I don't want you arguing with me. I don't want you arguing and displacing blame for your loss on someone else when it's you don't know the rules. Read the book. It's online, number 1. Number 2, you must fight to deny your opponent points as hard as you fight to get yourself points. That's a difficult thing for people when it comes from understanding, number 1, the rules. And number 3, resistance slows the fight down and it can buy you time, but it doesn't buy you much more than time. If you're looking at the clock, you got 9 seconds, you want to resist a choke, we might wake you up, all right? But if you want to advance, you got 2 minutes left on the clock, resistance isn't going to buy you 2 minutes. It's just going to burn out your arms and you're going to get choked. It's going to get you swept, right? We need to counter with our body. So you can resist, buy time, but you ultimately need to advance the position. Make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Awesome. Let's clap. Ready? 1, 2. Yeah! All right.